Part 44. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the Beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 431. This is a high-level martial arts creature shaped by true Qi. It can release wooden vines at will and mobilize surrounding objects related to wood attributes for defense or attack. Not only that, they also have a resounding title. Ultra Father. Almost everyone in the entire Federation knows about this existence. Speed and conceal, we wait for the opportunity to move. Yang Tianxia was in the Western Division, so he didn't see Bai Ziyi's creatures much. It was just hearsay that his creatures have air control capabilities, which is very terrifying. Therefore, even if he has the advantage of terrain, Yang Tianxia will not rashly choose to attack. Yang Tianxia hid at the beginning. What a coward. Haha, what do you know, this is called tactics. When you know that your opponent is stronger than you, use the terrain to camouflage first, and then wait for an opportunity to move. What creature will Bai Ziyi send for this first battle? If it is a tree man, it is indeed suitable for activities in the forest, but it is too bulky and easy to be pulled by these sacred wood apes. Other air-controlling creatures are just so-so. They still have to go to the ground to harvest, and they are not much faster than tree men. The audience around them communicated and guessed the creatures that Bai Ziyi would send in the first battle. You know, this is the final stage of the national competition. Facing Yang Tianxia in the first battle, Bai Ziyi will definitely not release all the creatures. If he only sends one race to fight, it seems that it is not easy to choose. Who said that the forest has a complex terrain, and the sacred wood apes are entangled with vines? Even if it is an air-controlling creature, it is not easy to get out if it falls into a trap. However, at the same time, Bai Ziyi has already selected the candidates. Leave the first battle to us. We will definitely win the first battle for the Father God. After the first emperor, the demon ancestor, and the demon emperor looked at each other, they led their armies and began to cross the transmission channel. Because the army was too large, the transmission was slow. During the process, Yang Tianxia couldn't wait any longer. The Shenmue ape, who had been crawling in the forest for a while, also poked its head out in an orderly manner to observe the outside scene. At this moment, a shout appeared on the scene. Here we go. From high in the sky, the transmission channel suddenly opened. Accompanied by a roar of engines, several small planes emitting blue light slowly rushed out. What the hell? Airplanes. Yang Tianxia in the venue and the audience outside were puzzled. Where are Bai Ziyi's giant insects? Why are there several small planes? No. Wait. Look behind, there is something behind. A row of spectators in the venue stood up collectively and pointed their fingers at the big screen. Behind those blue light planes, warships rushed out one after another. The scene was spectacular, covering the sky and the sun, and the trailing flames behind them shone into the sky, forming a beautiful arc. It turned out that the first plane to come out was just used to lead the way. The real main force followed behind. Fleet Group. Which biological race of Bai Ziyi is this? Yang Tianxia just finished speaking, and suddenly widened his eyes again. Even the audience outside cheered. Boom! A huge sonic boom exploded, and a 1,000-meter arc comparable to the sky slowly flew out of the transmission channel. Other warships surrounded the side, forming a protective wall. The arc was hung with a flag, Star Curtain No. 1 arc. Code name, Human Emperor. Then, a huge group of mechas continued to pour out of the arc. They were equipped with sophisticated equipment, carrying missile launch systems, infinite radars, quantum communications, and infrared scanning devices. With just one glance, the Shenmue ape hiding in the forest was discovered. Report, the first star battleship group of the temple is in place. Report, the third star battleship group of the King system is in place. Report, the fifth star battleship group of Tianyi is in place. Report, The automatic armed mecha troops are all in place. Star Curtain number 1 arc is activated, and the Demon Star is rushing to the scene. Quantum Barrier is activated, the Guard Defense System is activated, and the Plasma Turret is activated. Report, heat targets have been detected, and armed strikes can be carried out. One after another, the broadcast sound resounded in the world. Looking at the mighty and overwhelming army, the audience outside was stunned, and their eyes were almost shocked. Yang Tianxia was inside, and was almost scared silly. I just released a basic attack, and you flashed and used all your ultimate skills. Do you have any martial ethics? What kind of advanced civilization is bullying a group of primitive monkeys? Damn it, what's going on? No, get out of here. Yang Tianxia gave an urgent order. He felt an extremely dangerous breath. The monkeys received the order and ran back quickly without staying for long. At this time, the order was issued from the sky. Permission to strike. At the command, a flash of red light flashed in the pupils of those high-tech mechas. Then the tail wing behind them blasted out blue flames, taking them to the clouds. Yang Tianxia looked at the scene and didn't understand what was going on. They didn't chase after them. Unexpectedly, he regretted it the next second. Countless mechas stretched their back wings, and in a flash, thousands of missiles were launched. Through infrared locking, the monkeys were accurately located and directly tracked and bombed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Missiles from the sky fell in a circular orbit. The monkeys, who didn't understand the situation for a while, were still running desperately. When Yang Tianxia ordered defense, it was too late. Wherever the missiles passed, nothing was left. Explosions rose everywhere in the forest, the flames flickered, and the dust and ash formed bursts of thick smoke. The Shenmue apes that were accurately locked had nowhere to hide. Even if they were lucky enough to defend, those who survived would be hit by the next missile. For a while, disasters, flames, and doomsday filled every corner of the forest. Yang Tianxia's face was desperate. What guerrilla warfare, what hiding, are just jokes. In the face of absolute strength, nothing is. These missiles that fell from the sky directly flattened the forest, and the opponent didn't need to go out in person. Is this a technological civilization? Legend has it that it is one of the most terrifying civilizations in the later period. At this moment, there was silence outside the field, and many players were so surprised that they couldn't speak. Only Principal Tianzhou showed a very satisfied expression. The power of technological civilization lies in the fact that it does not rely on the body to fight. It should be clear that the advancement of creatures of power, for example, from slaves to generals, is actually the process of strengthening the body. From the copper body corresponding to slaves to the iron body corresponding to generals. And intelligent creatures strengthen their brains. They can use the so-called wisdom to find iron directly from the universe and make equipment that they can use. Just like the history of changes over the years, the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. The only difference between the two is that the things they make are more variable and are only consumables. Unlike creatures of power, they don't need to fight hard at any time. This is why the late technological civilization is so terrifying. Creation of the world, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 432. At the same time, amid the explosion, a divine ape stood up. He was the leader of many divine apes, the only divine wood ape leader in Yang Tianxia's hands who commanded a mid-level leader. He roared loudly and quickly summoned hundreds of divine wood apes to control the trees and vines on the ground to form a wall for defense. Although they were just plants, they were as fragile as white paper in front of missiles. But the large number offset most of the damage. Looking around, the ground that had suffered the first round of attacks was already full of potholes. The raging flames continued and spread to every corner of the forest. The few remaining divine wood apes huddled together for warmth and had to struggle to support themselves in the sea of fire. At this time, Someone suddenly remembered. Yes, 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 check the time quickly, how many minutes has the war started now? Oh, time, time. Some viewers quickly took out their mobile phones and were shocked when they saw it. It's almost 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, so many creatures have been eliminated. It's really amazing. However, Yang Tianxia hasn't finished yet, so he won't be killed in 5 minutes. One of the audience was obviously panicking, because they had bet money. If Bai Zi really won in 5 minutes, he would lose everything. Run, Yang Tianxia shouted. Its Shenmue ape is not strong in defense and attack. It is a creature with high speed and mobility. But now, facing endless missiles, this advantage is completely eliminated, and it is even worse than ordinary primary level creatures. That's right, run separately like this, and hold on for 1 second. Time was passing quickly, and the surviving Shenmue apes fled in all directions. Seeing that 4 minutes had passed, the broadcast sounded again. High-level life-form characteristics detected, predicting that the armored forces cannot be completely eliminated. Star Curtain Number 1 Arc, apply for the use of the Star Destroyer Cannon. Approved for use, start charging. Under the leadership of the first Emperor, a gun barrel slowly extended from the head of the arc. It was sealed above and below, opened on both sides, and a red arc in the middle was slowly condensing. This is the Star Destroyer cannon equipped by the Ark, which is said to be able to destroy asteroids with one shot. Although the charging and cooling time is long, the power is incomparable. The Star Destroyer cannon has been charged. The target has been locked successfully. Are you sure to fire? The gun barrel shifted downward and aimed at the Shenmue ape commander who was running at full speed. The first Emperor was unambiguous and gave the order directly. Confirm to fire. As soon as the voice fell, the Star Destroyer cannon accumulated to the maximum energy. The red arc inside it turned into a ball of light. Afterwards, accompanied by a loud boom, the surging red light column was fired towards the ground. The sky-high energy cleared the clouds and shattered the stars. Even the world barrier was shaking, making a sizzling friction sound. On the ground, the leader of the Shenmue ape stopped in a hurry when he felt the high-temperature energy approaching. Then he mobilized all his strength to control the trees and vines to form a wooden wall, trying to block the attack. However, the power was too great. The piled wooden wall was like paper, and was easily pierced and burned. The huge energy fell to the ground, submerged it, and turned it into a wisp of ash. Then, with the landing point as the center, layers of energy waves spread. Wherever it passed, no grass grew, and everything perished and turned into ashes. The Shenmue ape, who was trying hard to escape, could not avoid the attack that pierced the stars, and was also swallowed up by the air wave. After that, a red mushroom cloud rose slowly, covering the entire forest area. The hot flames burned everything around, and the dead branches and trunks were broken, showing the great power everywhere. At the same time, Yang Tianxia on the other side also knelt on the ground, with empty eyes. Ding, detected Tianjing competition area players, Yang Tianxia's creatures are all destroyed, judged as failure. Congratulations to the winning player Bai Zi, successfully promoted to the next round. With the announcement of the system, the venue exploded directly. Some spectators were excited, some spectators screamed, and some spectators cried. 5 minutes. After the end of the previous one, it was exactly 5 minutes. Really, as Bai Xingguan said, Bai Zi finished the game in 5 minutes. They lost all their wealth in this round. Damn. However, Zhao Qi, who was sitting in the player's seat, was pale. Yang Tianxia was defeated by Bai Zi in 5 minutes, which he did not expect. You know, although the opponent is not strong, there is a restrained element. But after all, it is a commander-level creature. It was instantly ended by a cannonball. However, Bai Ziyi's new batch of creatures is also a gain. At least Zhao Qi can formulate some battle plans based on their abilities. Bai Xingran naturally had nothing to say. She was glad that she guessed right and smiled confidently. At the same time, she felt a little unhappy. Bai Ziyi's promotion meant that he would continue to move forward, which was obviously not a good thing. On the floating platform, several principals boasted to each other. Congratulations on the victory in the first battle. This is a good start, and the win is really beautiful. It only took 5 minutes to finish the game. Ordinary people can't do it at all. Thank you for the compliment. You are really exaggerating. At this time, after the system broadcast ended, Bai Ziyi opened his eyes. However, Yang Tianxia had a look of despair. When he looked at Bai Ziyi again, he stood up and ran away as if he had seen a monster. It's so terrible, it's just not something human beings would do. I want to leave quickly. Bai Ziyi ignored his behavior and just shook his head helplessly. Victory in the first battle, a good start and an easy win. Today's game is over. If you want to wait, you have to wait for tomorrow's electronic draw before the game can start again. Thinking of this, Bai Ziyi stepped into the elevator and returned to the spectator seats. The players from Surin province on the other side were so excited that they shouted repeatedly. The game ended in 5 minutes, as expected of Bai Ziyi. Unexpectedly, Bai Ziyi actually became stronger again, and even gained a brand new technological civilization. It's a good start and I won it easily. I bet all my fortune on Bai Ziyi to win. Next, we have to look at Bai Ziyi. Returning to the competition area, the two of them also sent out congratulations first. Congratulations on the win. However, immediately afterwards, Xia Yunyu asked about Bai Ziyi's creature. Didn't your technological civilization be taken away by our principal? When did he return it to you? Just now, Bai Ziyi replied. Then how did you and Bai Xingguan meet? I think she just asked you to win. This. Bai Ziyi answered many of Xia Yunyu's questions before finally sending her away. My first round is about to start. I'm going to the preparation room first. Well, we are here to cheer you on, just play well. Xia Yunyu waved her hand and left the viewing area. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 433. Soon, one match after another started. Xia Yunyu won easily and returned to the spectator seat. The next match was between Zhang Tianyun from Yanyuan province, Long Aotian from the imperial capital, Wangtang, and others. When he finally arrived at Bai Xingguan, the opponent hastily gave up the game halfway through. He wanted to fight with Bai Xingguan and hold on for a while, at least to personally experience the strength of the goddess. Who knew that she would be so terrifying that he regretted it on the spot and chose to give up halfway. Slowly, the sky gradually darkened, and most of the games had ended today. At the beginning, there were 256 players, but now only 128 players have advanced. Then I'll go back first, you guys can watch the rest of the game slowly. Okay, I'm leaving too. There's nothing special about the next evening games, not even a single seated player. Alas, tomorrow's tickets are getting more and more expensive. Luckily I sold all the tickets for 7 days. If you ask me, the real excitement will start tomorrow. Half of the 256 players have been eliminated, and the remaining seated players will be easier to match together, which will be interesting. Yes. In the stadium, the roar has gradually become lighter. After most of the seated players' games ended, there was nothing to watch. The audience left one after another, and almost half of the people were gone. At the same time, Bai Zi and others were also ready to leave. In the last game, after Bai Xingguan's game ended, the other qualified players had already left for a while. The three of them were the last group to stay. There's nothing to see next. Let's get ready to go. The organizers have prepared a rest room for the players. Keep your spirits up so that you can play well in tomorrow's game. The two girls nodded in unison. I hope we won't be drawn together in tomorrow's draw. Otherwise, it's not right to play or not to play. Hee, that depends on whether the person who draws the lot still has a conscience. Tang Qingcheng hesitated to speak. She was talking about the principal of the imperial capital who could be manipulated in secret. However, he would never dare to do such an obvious behavior. Let's go. Bai Zi left the table and found the staff in the competition venue. After explaining the situation to him, the other party took the three people away and prepared to go to the temporary residence of the players. On the other side, several principals were also sighing to each other. In the first round of the game, all the seeded players advanced, which was expected. But those provinces without seeded players were miserable, especially those like Zhou province. Of the only three remaining players, two were eliminated in the first round. So far, only one person is still struggling. Principal Zhou couldn't help but frown. I'm afraid this is the last time she will sit in this position. Since then, Zhou has completely fallen from the top 10 universities. I hope everything will be fine in the next game. Tianyuan, you must go to the end. With such a good situation, if you don't get a good ranking, Zhaoqi, I'll really let you down. I hope this time, Xinlian won't act on impulse. Play well, it's not a problem to get into the top 8 in the country, and it's even possible to enter the top 4. The principals prayed in their hearts. This final game is extremely important. Who wouldn't want their students to get a good ranking? On the other side, behind the center of the imperial capital, there is a 30-story hotel, magnificent and luxurious. Walking into it, the atmosphere that emerges is a feeling of decadence. This hotel is provided for spectators who come to the imperial capital to watch the game. It is also special, open to the players participating in the competition. The 30th floor on the top floor is relatively quiet, comfortable, and spacious, and it is the residence for the players. No matter how much money you spend, you can't live here. It is only for the players in the competition. Bai Zi didn't lose anything today. Blame the opponent for being too weak, and blame the technological civilization for being too strong. What he didn't expect was that they, who were tanks and planes before, had already created equipment connected to the interstellar. In terms of technology alone, it is not inferior to the Lich fleet that Bai Zi fought against at that time. The only flaw is that they have no knowledge about potions. Therefore, after Bai Zi finished a game, the prop cards and potions were all useless and did not need to be replenished in time. He led Xia Yunyu and Tang Qingcheng to find their rooms first, and then started to look for his own. Good night, you should rest early after you find your room. Xia Yunyu waved her little hand and then closed the door. Turning around, Bai Zi left this row of rooms. Every player who came to the competition will have his name on the door. There is no name in this row of rooms, so it should be in the lower row of rooms. Bai Zi walked through a corridor and came to a new area of houses. But at the same time, some noises suddenly sounded in the quiet corridor. Theoretically, the hotel has very good sound insulation, so it is impossible for the noise to come from downstairs. There are very few players, and most of them should be preparing for tomorrow's competition, so it is impossible for them to make noises. Bai Zi was a little curious and poked his head out. At first glance, he found that they seemed to be familiar faces. Bai Xingguan, and Long Aotian. The sound was made by Long Aotian. At this moment, he was holding a large bouquet of roses in his hand. His suit was neat and straight, his hair was shiny, and he looked a little nervous. but from his behavior, he seemed to be a little excited. Xing Wan, I have liked you for a long time. That's right, I fell in love with you the first time I saw you. Today is my 99th confession, can you give me a chance? Long Aotian stuttered, but patted his chest, his face flushed. I know, although I am not worthy of you, but I will work hard. I was only 7th in the country in the last round of the competition. But I will work hard this round and knock everyone down. When I am 2nd in the country, I will give you the national champion throne as my betrothal gift. I believe that with my family background, after communicating with the Federation, our imperial capital president will definitely agree. Long Aotian became more and more excited as he spoke, and held the flowers in his hand forward. But looking at Bai Xingguan's appearance, she couldn't help but take 2 steps back, with some embarrassment and reluctance in her eyes. Sorry. I don't have any thoughts in this regard, I'm really sorry. Her voice was very gentle, even with a hint of cowardice. Looking at Long Aotian's eyes, it was like a little lamb seeing a wolf, and he wanted to run away quickly. Xingguan. Long Aotian raised his head, with a look of surprise. But soon, he turned his surprise into excitement, and his heartbeat couldn't help but accelerate. Xingguan, he. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 434. That's right, Long Aotian didn't just say that when he confessed 99 times. He really did it. But from these 99 confessions, he also found a little abnormality in Bai Xingguan, which can be regarded as a rule. That is, her personality is often unstable, sometimes strong, sometimes gentle. If it were this time in the past, the other party would definitely look contemptuous, disgusted, and frosty. Even the divine power has burst out all over his body, and he has blasted him and the flowers away. But now, Bai Xingguan is not angry, but also apologizes for rejecting him. What does this prove? It proves that now, the gentle Bai Xingguan has appeared. Today is the considerate Xingguan, so good. Long Aotian suddenly showed a perverted face, his eyes glowed green, and he stretched out his hand to grab Bai Xingguan's wrist. The other party was so scared that he quickly dodged and trembled all over. Long Aotian grabbed nothing and sobered up a little. Xingguan, don't be afraid, I don't mean any harm. But look, I bought all these flowers, it would be a pity if you don't throw them away. How about this, you take them first, and do whatever you want with them when you go back. Long Aotian handed the flowers forward, revealing a slightly sinister smile. He knew very well that Bai Xingguan was very well behaved and very considerate in this state. She could make a little self-sacrifice for the happiness of others. The first 2 times he encountered the state, he used this rhetoric to stuff flowers into the other party, and the other party accepted it. This time, maybe he could be bolder? On the other side, Bai Xingguan was a little hesitant, but she was also a little reluctant. So, she nodded and agreed. She stretched out her hand and wanted to catch the bouquet of roses. Who knew that Long Aotian also stretched out his hand and slowly moved closer to Bai Xingguan's little hand. He wanted to take advantage of her. Pretend to touch the other party accidentally, and then apologize quickly. First, establish an image of a gentleman in her heart. Then slowly approach, close the distance, and then take her down little by little. Thinking about it now, Long Aotian can hardly close his mouth. If one day, he really conquers the goddess of the Federation, who dares to say that he is a licker? Lickers also have dignity. At that time, with the beauty in his arms, and with the help of Bai Xingguan's identity, then he is the one who is personally cared for by the Federation and the Imperial Capital Academy. Little Wang Teng can only kneel and lick. What a genius monster, but they are all ants and dust under his feet. He. Thinking of this, Long Aotian laughed again. At this moment, when his hand was about to touch the other party, suddenly a sound of footsteps came from behind him. Huh! Long Aotian turned his head in confusion. A familiar figure was slowly walking towards the side. What, Bai Zi? Long Aotian frowned. It's really a narrow road for enemies. I didn't expect to meet Bai Zi here. But, let's talk about it. Bai Zi is here now, he should be looking for his room. After all, this is the contestant's residence. Long Aotian still has important things to do, so he can't care about Bai Zi. So, he just pretended not to see it, turned his head and continued to hand over the flowers. Xingguan, this. Hey, Xingguan, what are you doing here? Bai Zi suddenly greeted and interrupted Long Aotian's words. This made the two people present confused. At this moment, Bai Zi walked towards them quickly. Then, he casually pushed away Long Aotian's bouquet and hooked his hand on Bai Xingguan's shoulder. The latter's body was shocked and she tried to break free. Unfortunately, she was interrupted by Bai Zi's words. Didn't I ask you to help me place a bet before? We'll split the winnings in half, why did you suddenly run away? I've been looking for you for a long time, why don't you take out the money quickly? Bai Xingguan was puzzled at first when she heard this. But the next second, she seemed to understand something. Long Aotian was even more confused when he saw this scene. What the hell is betting? And what are you doing with your hands? Hey! Bai Zi, what are you doing? Long Aotian pointed at Bai Zi and yelled, take your hands away. Bai Zi glanced at him with a little confusion, and said slowly, what am I doing? I'm asking her for money. We are pure friendship, we have to settle accounts clearly. I asked her to bet, she won the money, and she ran away. As he said this, Bai Zi showed an angry attitude. It was as if he had fed an ungrateful person with kindness, and it was difficult to calm down his anger. I tell you, you must give me the money today. Come on, take me directly to your room, if you don't give it to me, I will search it myself. After saying that, Bai Zi forcefully pulled Bai Xingguan to leave. The latter did not resist and followed Bai Zi's steps. However, behind him, Long Aotian's forehead was bulging with blue veins. His goddess. Just now, she was almost there, but was interrupted by Bai Zi. Moreover, she was not even touched by him, but was hugged and embraced by Bai Zi, and she did not resist. In addition, he heard Bai Zi's tone, like a gangster leader who came to collect debts. Could it be that Bai Xingguan owed Bai Zi something? Unable to repay the debt, she was forced to succumb to his tyranny. Otherwise, why didn't she resist, and didn't even shout? Wait, Long Aotian immediately stopped the two. His mind was exploding now, he held his chest and shouted at the top of his lungs, Bai Zi, I will pay whatever money you want, don't make it difficult for her. Looking at Long Aotian's impassioned appearance, he was exactly the same as the victim. Could it be that he is going to be a yellow-haired man today? Ahem. She has better things to pay off the debt, and doesn't need your broken money. Don't you think so? Bai Zi pulled Bai Xingguan's arm, as if hinting. Hearing the question, Bai Xingguan pursed her red lips, then opened her mouth and hummed lightly. Although the voice was as thin as a mosquito's hum, and there was a hint of cowardice. But Long Aotian really heard it. In an instant, it was like a thunderbolt, the clear sky was split, and his world became dark and empty. Hope was shattered. The last stubbornness of the dog liquor also turned into a bubble. Bai Xingguan, who usually looks so strong, is actually this kind of person. It turns out. Long Aotian's astonishment gradually turned into anger. The flowers in his hand fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Bai Zi, I'll remember you. Just wait for me. But in the end, Long Aotian didn't dare to say anything to Bai Xingguan. He had to turn his anger into a spearhead and point it at Bai Ziyi, who disrupted his plan. Then, he turned around and ran to the end of the corridor, looking extremely embarrassed. But in the process, Long Aotian couldn't help but look back, imagining that he had misunderstood. Unexpectedly, Bai Ziyi led Bai Xingguan and actually entered her room. The big sect number corresponds to the name of the contestant Bai Xingguan. Woo woo woo. The Minotaur should die. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 435. After Long Aotian ran away, the door of the room slowly closed. Bai Xingguan breathed a sigh of relief, and also took the opportunity to leave Bai Ziyi and sat on the edge of the bed. Thank you for what happened just now. She blinked and thanked Bai Ziyi. It's nothing. For that kind of thing, you should reject him directly. To prevent him from misunderstanding something and continuing to harass you in the future. It's just that if he sees what happened just now, it should be detrimental to your reputation. After all, the goddess of the Federation is a graceful and supreme existence. If Long Aotian ran out and spread rumors, saying that Bai Xingguan was threatened by someone, if not others, the principal of my own school would have to come to me in person. It doesn't matter. You also said that it was to help me. Bai Ziyi nodded, okay. Long Aotian should leave now. With his courage, I estimate that the probability of spreading this matter is not high. My room is next door, so I'll go back first if it's okay. Bai Ziyi waved his hand and turned around to leave. But at this time, Bai Xingguan stopped him with one sentence. Wait. You know I'm not her, right? Bai Ziyi turned around and looked at the other party with some surprise. I know you have many questions. In return, I can reveal a little to you appropriately. Hearing this, Bai Ziyi suddenly smiled. This is really an unexpected gain. That's true. I do have a lot of things to know. Some things involve myself. I can't help but participate. Bai Ziyi sighed, then returned without hesitation and sat next to Bai Xingguan. He looked at this quiet and well-behaved girl from top to bottom. You should be the sister of the main personality, Bai Xingguan, right? The other party nodded gently, which was a default. When Bai Xingran took over the body, Bai Xingguan was actually conscious and could hear the outside world. Just like before in the Genesis building, when Bai Xingguan took over the body and talked to Bai Ziyi, Bai Xingran could also see the outside world. Actually, I'm a little curious about your relationship, and the switching mode. Can we negotiate with each other and switch autonomously, or do we need to fight for it? Bai Xingguan waved her hand, we have a good relationship. Just like you said, sister and sister, it has been like this since childhood. As for the control of the body, it should be considered that it can be switched autonomously. Actually, it's nothing. Even if you can't control the body, you can still see the external situation. But there is one thing, when we control the body, we will consume divine power. Once the divine power you hold is exhausted, the body will naturally be transferred to another person. Xing Ran has been taking over the body these days to participate in the competition. She is a little tired now, so I will come out to replace her. Bai Ziyi nodded affirmatively, and the first thing to figure out. I have another thing to ask you. You use a suppression device to prevent the divine power in the body from merging. Is it because, after a divine power is merged, the corresponding person will also disappear? Bai Xingguan pursed her red lips and said softly. Yes. After proving the conjecture, Bai Ziyi continued, theoretically, you as the main personality. Even if they devour each other, it should be you who devours Bai Xingran as the attached personality. After this, Bai Xingguan did not reply for a short time. But then, she smiled with relief. Some things are said too much, I am afraid that Xingran will blame me again. But it is true. This is a congenital disease that has existed since we were born. The god of the Federation once told me that Xingran's appearance was just an accident. Don't worry too much, as time goes by, I will slowly assimilate her and reach the peak state. Speaking of this, Bai Xingguan's eyes gradually became lonely. Bai Ziyi fell into thinking. It seems that the device should be used by Bai Xingran to save himself. But there must be Bai Xingguan's approval. After all, they have been together for 18 years and are as close as sisters. Otherwise, if Bai Xingguan really wants her to die, what can the other party use to fight the main personality? I know you treat Bai Xingran as a relative. Unfortunately, this is not a solution. As time goes by, the device will eventually fail. At that time, she will only be swallowed by you and turned into energy. Bai Ziyi told the heartbreaking fact, but Bai Xingguan smiled. In fact, because of this, I have made preparations. Xingran is one of my few relatives. I can't watch her die because of me. Besides, she is better than me. She can manipulate creatures and fight against people. This is what everyone and the principal think of as the true goddess of the imperial capital. So, I have chosen to give up as soon as possible and leave the hope of survival to her. Bai Ziyi's pupils dilated when he heard this. That means. In fact, the device is to protect you from being swallowed by her. Bai Xingguan didn't say anything else, still nodded gently, and chose to default. This reversal was unexpected by Bai Ziyi. Then the most important question came. I think Bai Xingran seems to be obsessed with the championship of the national competition. In addition to the expectations of the imperial capital for you and some honors, the champion prize won't have any special use. Bai Xingguan closed her mouth for a moment. She seemed to be hesitating, and seemed to be in deep thought. But she is not Bai Xingran after all, and she is willing to say many things. Yes. In fact, the power of origin is our companion divine object. Bai Ziyi was shocked, and new words and information invaded his brain. Companion divine object. What is that? You should also know that we are bred by divine power. At the same time we were born 18 years ago, this power of origin appeared with us. However, it was taken away by the god of the Federation. It was not until a year ago that we knew that the power of origin was placed in the national competition as a champion prize. And his surface function can construct the godhead in advance, and even construct a dual godhead. But for us, it is like life-saving breast milk. When Bai Xingguan said this, Bai Ziyi had clearly conceived a route in his mind. Including the god of the Federation, why did they take away the power of origin and put him in the national competition as a champion prize? The power of origin can form a high wall to block the fusion of divine power. At the same time, it can also make up for the part of our missing divine nature, allowing us to achieve a true symbiotic state. So, Xingran is for the honor of the imperial capital on the one hand. On the other hand, he wants to take back the power of origin that belonged to us at the beginning, to save me who will be swallowed in the end. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 436. That's right. That's absolutely true. The god of the Federation must have known from the beginning that the two would devour each other as they grew older. So, he deliberately took away something that could make up for and curb their mutual devouring. As the champion prize of the national competition, for people to compete. As for why? Bai Ziyi guessed that it was probably to have an incentive effect. It also corresponds to the sentence that the national competition is predetermined. After all, if the god of the Federation really wants one of them to devour the other, that's completely unnecessary. Prepare a device that can suppress the fusion of divine power for them, and fuse them as soon as possible. So, this is an opportunity. Only if the supreme goddess of the Federation wins the championship of the national competition can they keep both of them. And the god of the Federation is sure that they will win the championship for the championship prize. Therefore, it is called predetermined. At the same time, it also inspired Bai Xingran to compete and become stronger. So that's it? Bai Zi murmured. It seems that many mysteries suddenly became clear. But so far, there is still one most important question, which is also the fundamental reason why Bai Zi participated in this matter. Why did he die? Could it be that Bai Xingran deliberately told him so in order to win the championship prize? So that he would be afraid and quit the competition? After thinking about it, Bai Zi felt that the probability was not high. Would Bai Xingran really bother to use such a low-level method? However, there is nothing to worry about. Isn't there someone who can answer you here? I understand what you are talking about. Then I want to ask you, why did I die? Seeing this, Bai Xingguan tilted her head and showed a confused expression. It was as if she was asking Bai Zi, what are you talking about? Your sister Bai Xingran once told me to give up participating in the third stage of the national competition. Otherwise, I will probably die. Hearing Bai Zi's words, Bai Xingguan was stunned. When Bai Xingran controlled the body before, she seemed to hear the other party say something similar. However, she didn't know about this matter at all. I'm not sure about this matter. Is it possible that you want to compete for the championship and make Xingran feel a sense of crisis? So, she wants to trick you into giving up. Her idea is exactly the same as Bai Zi's. But it's obvious that it's almost impossible. I know. If you have a chance, please ask her for me. Although Bai Zi is sure that even if Bai Xingguan asks, Bai Xingran will not answer. Yeah, Bai Xingguan nodded. In fact, you don't have to take what I just said to heart. You don't have to give up or let her go for us. Even if you win the championship, there will be no problem. After all, I've been prepared from the beginning. It's not a good thing for two people to occupy one body together. Xingran is more qualified for the position of the goddess than me. My disappearance is definitely an increase for her. Bai Xingguan said seriously, without any concealment. Bai Zi smiled with the corner of his mouth. I understand. I won't give up or let anyone win in the competition. Even if I win the championship, I won't feel sad or guilty. Okay, I'm going to leave. Good night. Bai Zi waved his hand slightly. He was really going to go back this time. Of course, what he said was true. I definitely won't let anyone win. I have to win the championship. As for the prizes of the competition, it's not impossible to give them away. It depends on the situation at that time. Maybe it's not a gift, but a transaction. Bye. Looking at Bai Xingguan's smile, the door closed slowly. Bai Zi went to his room, which was next to Bai Xingguan. The house was very large, about 100 square meters, with all kinds of facilities. After Bai Zi sat down, he prepared for tomorrow's game. At the same time, he had to sort out the clues he got today. But again, the final answer to all the puzzles must be known only to the god of the Federation. He might die. Bai Xingguan didn't know about this, but Bai Xingran knew, and the god of the Federation also knew. That means something must have happened between the two of them. Maybe it was a premeditated plan, or an accident. But no matter what, Bai Zi must know. In the blink of an eye, a day is over. After a day of rest, the remaining 128 contestants are all ready. The eliminated contestants received their competition rewards early, left the contestant seats, and went to the spectator seats. Today is the second day of the national competition. Early in the morning, the Imperial Stadium was crowded with people and the noise was loud. A large number of spectators came together, and the noise was more enthusiastic than before. The host of the competition also prepared early, standing on the floating high platform, waiting for all the contestants to arrive. It's really fast. In just one day, the top 128 in the country have been decided. Yes, after today's competition, that is the top 100 in the country, only 64 people are left. I really don't know if there will be any big scenes today. Will any of the seeded players be matched together? Amid the chaotic conversations of the audience, the players arrived at the scene one after another. Bai-Ze also led the two and finally reached the player seed. Okay. Today is the second day of the national competition. After today, the top 100 players in the country will also be decided here. So please be ready, all the contestants. The electronic draw will start now. The leading host did not wait any longer after seeing all the contestants arrive. As he waved his hand, the images on the big screens changed. Then, the list of players who were still on the scene was shuffled and rearranged. Several principals still sat in their familiar seats, pointing and talking about today's match list. First, today's first round match is between Wang Wei from Yanyuan Province and Qin Ryu from Yang Province. The second match will be between. As the match list stopped one by one, the host began to announce loudly. Bai-Ze, who was sitting in the player seat, carefully browsed the list from top to bottom and found several surprising points. The 16th match will be between Sun Xiaochuan from the capital and Tang Qingcheng from Sulan Province. The 23rd match will be between Long Aotian from the capital and Bai-Ze from Sulan Province. It was these two that made Bai-Ze's eyes locked on the screen. At the same time, when the host announced these names, the audience was even more excited. I didn't expect that the second round would match the two seeded players together. It was Bai-Ze, who ranked first in the country, and Long Aotian, who ranked 7th in the country. If you ask me, this is really a narrow road for enemies. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. Creation of the world, binding God simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 437. Bai-Ze said silently. At that time, a hot voice rang out from the audience seats. Tang Qingcheng vs Sun Xiaochuan, one is at the bottom of the second list, and the other is at the top of the third list. The probability of this encounter is really amazing. The other match is even more crucial, it's Bai-Ze vs Long Aotian. Do you know that Long Aotian had some conflicts with Bai-Ze before, and it seems that the goddess was involved. At that time, he used the official account of the imperial capital to post a video to call Bai-Ze, asking him to wait well. I didn't expect that this time, the two of them would actually be matched together. However, what is the reason for the goddess? Why is Long Aotian's call related to the goddess? You don't know this. Long Aotian of the imperial capital Long family is a famous dog licker, I tell you. Amid the clamor in the venue, Long Aotian was excited. What a godsend! The hatred that was just made yesterday can be avenged today. Sure enough, he is the son of heaven. As he thought, Long Aotian stood up and walked to Bai-Ze's side. Bai-Ze. I heard someone calling him. Bai-Ze, who was immersed in this result, turned his head stiffly. Seeing that it was Long Aotian, he couldn't help but smile. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? Long Aotian suddenly ran over. What else could it be besides shouting? Of course there is something. Take a good look at the list of players, this time God is helping me. Long Aotian pointed to the big screen with a smile on his face. Take advantage of now, you should linger on the scenery of the player's seat. After all, this is the last time you will see it in this life. Long Aotian said it very tactfully, but the implication was that Bai Zi would definitely lose today. For him, Muhan and his team's defeat was mixed with many factors. There are players from Sulan province and support from Bai Zi's team members. So, it sounds good, but it can't be true. Bai Zi can really fight 6 and completely defeat the sons of gods. Besides, Long Aotian didn't think that he was definitely weaker than Muhan. At least during this period of time, his strength has improved a lot. However, after saying these words to Bai Zi, Long Aotian also saw Bai Xingguan sitting next to Bai Zi. He recalled what happened last night, and his heart ached. But after thinking carefully, he still walked in front of Bai Xingguan. Xingguan, I didn't do well last night. But don't worry, I will definitely defeat this bastard in this round of competition today. Then I will escort you all the way, strive to enter the finals, and hand over the championship throne to you. Long Aotian's tone was sonorous and powerful, and he spoke with emotion and moved his heart. The ferocity he had just used to deal with Bai Zi was completely gone. But seeing that Bai Xingguan ignored him and didn't reply, Long Aotian was anxious. He made up his mind and covered his chest directly. Xingguan. I know, even if you have, already. But I don't care. I like you as a person, not anything else. Give me another chance, please, I will definitely prove myself. Hearing this, Bai Zi, who was sitting next to him and not speaking, was stunned. He turned his head and looked at Long Aotian, who was speaking passionately, with an unbelievable look. Good guy. He finally saw what a real licker is. It's like this. Still licking? Why don't you bring yourself some breakfast? Heh, that's enough. You're not even in the top 64 when you're in the semifinals. Long Aotian felt that he was being laughed at when he heard this. He blushed and turned his head. I'm talking to Xingguan, it's not your turn to interrupt. He put on a proud attitude, but turned his head and changed his face in a second, and became a pug again. Xingguan, that I. But this time, before Long Aotian finished speaking, a majestic divine power spread out. The power was so strong that all the surrounding contestants could feel it. Zhang Tianyun covered his face with his hands and frowned slightly. Zhao Qi in the back row stood up directly, his eyes were stunned, and he took several steps back. Get lost! Bai Xingguan shouted directly. The golden divine power turned into a storm and attacked Long Aotian. The latter had no time to dodge and was rushed back several meters on the spot. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. He looked at Bai Xingguan with a shocked face. Today it was the fierce Xingguan, so scary. Well, okay, then I'll leave first. Seeing this, Long Aotian rolled and crawled to the back row. He would never dare to provoke Bai Xingguan in this state. Not only was the other party cold, but he would also attack him directly. More importantly, Long Aotian couldn't beat Bai Xingguan, so he could only run away in disgrace whenever he met her. After he left in a hurry, the power in Bai Xingguan gradually calmed down. However, the players within the power range were greatly surprised. Not to mention Zhang Tianyun and Zhao Qi, even Qin Xinlian, who was at the back of the second list, felt a strong divine power. This feeling was definitely not something they could resist. In just 7 days, could it be that the true strength of the goddess had become stronger again? Bai Xingguan remained silent, as if nothing had happened just now. Only Bai Zi knew that she was in Bai Xingran's state. All right. First round, invite the contestants from both sides to come on stage. At this moment, the first round of the competition officially started. With the voice of the host on the floating platform, the contestants from both sides appeared on the battle platform. It is now 9 o'clock in the morning, much earlier than yesterday. So, the competition time is also relaxed. Bai estimated that it would be 3 or 4 o'clock when he really went on stage. Bai. Suddenly, Bai heard someone calling him from behind. Turning his head, he found that it was Tang Cheng. Do you have time? I have something to talk to you alone. Bai's eyes were stunned and a little confused. But then, he nodded and agreed. Okay. Then, Bai stood up and followed Tang Cheng out. Leaving the inner layer of the venue, near the ticket checking room on the outer layer, there was no one here. No one is here, do you have anything to tell me? Tang Cheng didn't hesitate and pointed his finger directly at a screen near the ticket checking room. Although the third stage of the national competition is an individual competition. But we are Sulan province players after all. For today's competition, we all drew players from the imperial capital. And they are still classified as seeded players. After Tang Cheng finished speaking, Bai understood. With the superposition of this double buff, today's competition seems to be particularly important. There is actually no need to specifically mention this. As long as we win today's game together, isn't it enough? Yes, that's what I mean. Tang Cheng nodded and smiled, then wish us good luck. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 438. Returning to the spectator seats, the game was progressing rapidly. When it was close to the match between Tang Cheng and Sun Xiaochuan, there were many discussions in the venue. It's almost here, one of the highlights of today. The bottom of the second list, against the top of the third list, the ranking gap is quite close. Yes, there is also a match between Bai later, which should be the most exciting match of the day. Enemies meet on a narrow road, and chess meets a worthy opponent, it's so interesting. But did you notice that the two most exciting matches today were both between Sulan province players and imperial capital players? Hey, now that you put it that way, it's true. If that's the case, this is the first large-scale collision between the two provinces in the third stage, right? Ha ha ha, this is a good opportunity for imperial capital to save face, but if it loses, then what the players can observe, several principals must have observed long ago. At the top, a total of 3 principals from both sides were silent. But anyone with a discerning eye could see that they had deep thoughts in their minds. The principal of the imperial capital could not help but breathe heavier. He did not expect to win all the games, which was simply unrealistic. As long as they did not lose all the games, the imperial capital would be slapped in the face again. He did not place too much hope on Long Aotian, after all, his opponent was Bai Zi. Then the only person he could trust was Sun Xiaochuan. The ranking gap between him and Tang Cheng was not big, so he might have a chance. However, the other two principals also had different ideas in their eyes. Sulinsheng had just become famous not long ago. This third stage of the competition was a good opportunity to gain a foothold. Especially Bai Zi's opponent was Long Aotian of the imperial capital Long family, the son of God who was only inferior to Muhan and others. If he could defeat him one-on-one, it would be absolutely proved that Bai Zi was stronger than the son of God of the imperial capital. Otherwise, there would still be people who would use the fact that someone assisted Bai Zi in the second stage to defeat the 6 sons of God to talk about it. Ha ha ha, you played well, you played well. All the principals laughed and applauded, as if nothing had happened. Gradually, it was Tang Cheng's match. Next, it's the 16th match of the day. Sun Xiaochuan from the imperial capital versus Tang Cheng from Sulan province. One is at the bottom of the third list, and the other is at the top of the second list. It seems that this match is really interesting. Following the host's words, the two players in the contestant seat stood up together. Passing by Bai Zi, Tang Qingcheng also gave a word of advice. I'll go up first. The intensity of Long Aotian's match is very high, you should go to the preparation room as soon as possible to prepare. Bai Zi nodded and agreed. At the same time, the gambling market was opened in the venue again. Tang Qingcheng from Sulan province versus Sun Xiaochuan from the imperial capital, do you want to bet on her? I'll do it, I'll bet on Sun Xiaochuan to win, rankings don't represent strength, Xiaochuan will definitely win. Then I'll bet 2 million, and I'll bet on Tang Qingcheng to win. You probably forgot that before Bai Zi came out of nowhere, Tang Qingcheng was a person that the six sons of God had heard of. Just this point alone is not something Sun Xiaochuan can compare to. Besides, she was the first person in Sulan province before, known as the undefeated queen, which is enough to prove her strength. He, well said, I'll bet on Tang Qingcheng too. I'll bet on Tang Qingcheng with 5 million. The voices from Tang Qingcheng's side were obviously louder than Sun Xiaoquan's. Sun Xiaochuan walked in the aisle and heard these voices, and he couldn't help but feel resentful. Brother Xiaochuan, come on, this round of competition is all up to you. Yes, our brother Xiaoquan's strength is far more than the top of the 3 lists. If you ask me, it is possible to enter the top 10 of the second list. Haha, Sun Xiaochuan looked up and smiled, thank you all. Then I have to win this round of competition no matter what. After waving his hand, Sun Xiaochuan walked into the elevator with a face full of ambition. He had heard the name of Tang Qingcheng from his captain, Mu Han, and others a long time ago. Today, Sun Xiaochuan personally experienced the undefeated queen, and he didn't think he would definitely lose. Okay, please invite the 2 contestants to the stage. Amid the host's shouts, the 2 contestants appeared one after another. Then, they sat down in the competition seats, the big screen perspective switched, and the official competition began. In this round of competition, the place where the 2 sides were teleported was an ocean. It was endless, except for a few islands where they could land, the rest was all sea water. This scene was not an advantage for Tang Qingcheng. But if they were to deal with Sun Xiaoquan's magical creatures, the Iceman, plus the Ice Wizard, this lineup would be a complete advantage. After all, although the word ice contains water, it will melt if it really goes into the water. Not to mention sea water, which is more corrosive to them. So, as soon as the game started, Sun Xiaochuan hurriedly ordered his creatures to flee. Dive into the water, the faster the better. Tang Qingcheng did not send out Yinglong, but only let the Order Dragon lead the Dragon Knight team to chase from the air. After several waves of attacks, Sun Xiaochuan was obviously defeated. He only had a mid-level Frost Wizard Master in his hand, and he was no match for the Order Dragon. In addition, in this environment, ice was perfectly restrained. Therefore, the only way Sun Xiaochuan chose was to keep running. This scene caused many spectators outside the venue to complain. What's wrong with Sun Xiaochuan? Why is he being suppressed all the way? I bet money, can he do it? Yeah, the rankings are similar, but the strength is so different. Listening to the voices outside the venue, Sun Xiaochuan stabilized his mentality and ignored it. He was waiting for an opportunity to fight back. After all, it should be clear that although Tang Qingcheng is the undefeated queen who has attracted much attention, unfortunately, she thinks highly of herself and has not inherited the godhood passed down in her family. This also means that this is an extra advantage for Sun Xiaochuan. B-level prop card, collective teleportation. B-level prop card, collective teleportation. Sun Xiaochuan smashed out 20 million in a row. His creatures, as the prop cards were activated, continued to teleport and shuttle through the sea. However, Tang Qingcheng's dragon soldiers flew too fast and could barely catch up. After a while of fighting, Sun Xiaochuan finally found an opportunity to fight back. Because outside the ocean area, it happened to be his special field, the ice field. What a great opportunity! Frost Witch Lord. Sun Xiaochuan gave an order, and heavy snow fell from the sky. The blue creature covered in a blue robe raised the snowflake-shaped scepter in his hand. Then, the surrounding ice blocks were mobilized, and several giant ice men stood up to form a high wall. Tang Ching Cheng, I was suppressed by you for so long just now, this is my home field. How can you beat me without the Godhead? The Godhead field is activated, snow vines and thorns. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 439. Sun Xiaochuan raised his hands high to face the snowflakes falling from the sky. As a member of Mu Han's team, he has similar attributes to Mu Han's Godhead. It's a pity that his ability is much weaker than that of Mu Han. It can only mobilize the wind and snow in an area and control the ice crystals to form ice vines for interference. Boom! At this moment, the ice crystals on the surface have been activated. Blue ice vines condensed and rushed straight up into the sky. The giant dragons launched a long-range offensive and destroyed several ice vines. But there was still a giant dragon entangled in some ice vines, and the ice pierced its bones for a while, and its whole body began to be quickly frozen. Those who had time to rescue would help their companions break the ice vines. Those who are too late will be frozen into an ice sculpture in a very short period of time, and the dragon on top will fall to the ground. Tang Qingcheng discovered that under the control of Sun Xiaochuan, this kind of ice vine would be generated continuously without any restrictions. In other words, if you keep putting it off, it will definitely be detrimental to you. After thinking about this, under Tang Qingcheng's order, the Dragon of Order roared. Silver chains suddenly dropped from the sky, entangling several giant ice men on the ground. Then keep squeezing until it breaks into a puddle of ice. Without his protection, Sun Xiaoquan's Frost Witch Lord was completely exposed to the dragons. He quickly ordered the army to retreat, hoping to fight a protracted war in the ice field and use his divine realm to consume Tang Qingcheng bit by bit. However, the other party had already seen through his mind. A group of dragons circled behind and completely blocked Sun Xiaoquan's retreat. Seeing this scene, Sun Xiaochuan saw the silver chains coming continuously, and he simply became heartbroken and prepared to fight hard. Humph. So what if you block my escape route? This is my main battlefield. With the blessing of the divine realm, you can't defeat me. Having said that, Sun Xiaochuan was not polite and continued to activate his divine realm. Using the ice vines, they attacked the rushing shackles, and the two collided, and both sides were immediately torn apart. Taking advantage of the terrain, the strength of ice-type creatures has greatly increased, and the Frost Witch Lord can continue to create icemen to meet the enemy. Gradually, the two parties fell into a stalemate. We're at a stalemate. This game won't last until the time limit ends, right? It feels like it's hard to tell the winner for a while, and that should be it. Hey, you guys don't understand this. Don't expect Sun Xiaochuan to be evenly matched with Tang Qingcheng by relying on his terrain advantage and divine realm. Actually, he is just holding on for dear life. Believe it or not, in 5 minutes, he will be unable to resist. An older member of the audience spoke wildly, attracting the attention of the audience around him. It's a pity that he is still leisurely and contented. Besides, in this match, the undefeated queen obviously let herself go. She wanted to hide her strength, so she didn't get serious with Sun Xiaochuan. So, there is no suspense in this game. If Sun Xiaochuan really pushes Tang Qingcheng to the edge and she takes action, then he will still have to lose. After hearing these words, some players started to panic. Looking at this so-called 50-50 game, even the principal of Imperial Capital looked embarrassed. Gradually, 5 minutes passed. As the audience just said, Sun Xiaochuan was starting to feel a little exhausted. Continuous use of divine power and continuous activation of the divine power caused the divine power in his body to be rapidly consumed. Without the harassment from the divine realm, Tang Qingcheng's hands seemed to be freed. One ice man was destroyed, and rays of different energies covered the entire field. The Frost Witch Lord hurriedly summoned an ice wall for defense, but with such a weak body, how could it defeat the Dragon of Order who commanded the high-level ones? Several chains from the opponent arrived, smashing the ice wall on the spot and sending the Frost Witch Lord flying hundreds of meters away. Without his leadership, the Iceman was reduced to rubbish, and most of the ice wizards were also blown away one by one. Sun Xiaochuan wanted to run, but the dragons had completely blocked him behind him. There is nothing to talk about next. Sun Xiaochuan was restrained until the end of the game, when all creatures were wiped out. It took 25 minutes to end the 16th round. Bite. All contestants from the Imperial Capital Division were detected, and all Sun Xiaoquan's creatures were destroyed, resulting in a failed decision. Congratulations to the winning contestant Tang Qingcheng for successfully advancing to the next round of competition. With the sound of mechanical sound, Tang Qingcheng woke up. At this moment, there was warm applause in the stadium. That's great, Qingcheng, she is worthy of being the goddess of our Sulin Academy. Now, our Surin province can be regarded as the first top 64, which is worthy of celebration. But at the same time, there were also the plaintive sounds of ghosts crying and wolves howling. I bet 3 million, and it's all gone. Damn Sun Xiaochuan, he was promised to be the number 1 among the 6 gods, why is he at this level? It's all fake, a false name, absolutely a false name. On the other hand, Sun Xiaoquan's face darkened and his eyes dimmed after he woke up. He admitted that he was no match for Tang Qingcheng. Being suppressed by the opponent in their own home court is simply a shame and humiliation. But it's no wonder that Tang Qingcheng can attract the attention of the 6 head gods. His strength is already considered to be one of the strongest among the sons of gods in the imperial capital. There is a high probability that he is still above Zhong Peng, otherwise he would not be able to join Mu Han's Son of God team. But there is no way, if you lose, you lose. Simply, Sun Xiaochuan stood up and left the battle stage silently. Good. Congratulations to Sulin Division, player Tang Qingcheng for advancing to the next round. Next, it's the 17th match, Yang Province. After Sun Xiaochuan left, Tang Qingcheng didn't stay for long. She returned to the competition seat and was praised by Su Linzheng and others. Among them, Zhao Jinzhu and Wang Tiangang were the most enthusiastic. After all, they were at the same level as Tang Qingcheng before. But I didn't expect that they didn't even make it to the 3rd stage of the national competition. Are you ready? It's your turn soon. You can't underestimate the enemy when fighting against Long Aotian. Listening to Tang Qingcheng's instructions, Bai Ziyi couldn't help but pat his chest to guarantee. No problem. Leave the rest of the game to me. After replying, Bai Ziyi stood up silently. Then I'll go to the preparation room first and go on stage right away. Tang Qingcheng nodded and watched Bai Ziyi leave. At this time, after the first round of defeat, the principal of the imperial capital had completely wilted there. Is there really no way to strike a blow to Su Linzheng? Just let them be so arrogant and domineering all the way. Thinking of this, the principal of the imperial capital did not dare to watch the next game. What level is Bai Zi? What can Long Aotian do to win? After losing both rounds, today is another day for the imperial capital to be slapped in the face. Sure enough, the final hope still has to be placed on Bai Xingguan. It seems that she is the only one in the whole game who has a chance to defeat Bai Zi. Alas! Long Aotian, even if you have to lose, at least you have to hold on a little longer. If you are killed instantly, it will really be a loss for my imperial capital. Creation of the World, Binding God Simulator at the beginning. Author, Yefeng Feng. Chapter 440. Time passed by minute, and the following matches also ended quickly. Zhang Tianyuan, Qin Xinlian, and others took the stage one after another, and left after defeating their opponents. Finally, the 22nd match came to an end. Congratulations to the Thai player for winning. Next, it is the 23rd match, Long Aotian from the imperial capital, against Bai Zi from Sulan province. Please invite the two players to the stage. In the preparation room, Bai Zi, who had been ready for a long time, prepared to go on stage without much hesitation. And Long Aotian was still sitting in the player's seat, listening to the noise in his ears. Okay, the most important match of the day is coming. Long Aotian versus Bai Zi, this match, no matter who loses, it will be uncomfortable. After all, both of them are in the top 10 of the second stage list. In this stage, at least they can enter the top 16. But because of this allocation mechanism, they have to stop at the top 64. Haha, that's nothing we can do, let's just focus on watching the game. Long Aotian slowly got up and started to move towards the elevator. Passing by Wang Tang, he had a mocking look on his face. Haha, I think you should just admit defeat. Otherwise, you will be completely defeated by my prey and lose your spiritual heart in the end. Seeing this, Long Aotian smiled contemptuously. Humph, watch me, how I defeat Bai Zi. By then, you will be nothing but a nobody in front of me. Long Aotian did not hide anything at all. After angrily scolding Wang Tang, he left directly. He was left there with a dark face, which was extremely ugly. On the battle stage, two figures slowly appeared from the left and right sides at this moment. The spectator seats at the bottom had already opened the betting market. I lost badly in the round against Tang Ching Cheng, so I must bet on Bai Zi to win this round. That's right, I'm sure of Bai Zi. I'll bet 10 million, all my belongings, and I'll bet on Bai Zi to win. And me, I'll bet 20 million. I'll bet. If you guys do this, I can't even open this betting market. Otherwise, let's change the betting method and directly bet on Bai Zi to finish the game in a few minutes. Gradually, in the discussion, a conclusion was reached. That is, almost all the votes were bet on Bai Zi to win, and the support was unprecedented. So much so that the betting market could not be opened directly, and a round of competition was suspended. Please prepare to take your seats, both players. The host shouted, and the two people on the left and right came closer one after another. Long Aotian glanced at the whole venue, and when he noticed the players' seats, he felt his heartbeat speed up. That's right. It's Xinguan. Xinguan is looking at him. This alone made Long Aotian full of energy. In this round, he must prove in front of Bai Xingguan that he is absolutely not inferior to Bai Zi. By then, maybe Xingguan will change her mind. Long Aotian secretly made up his mind and stared at Bai Zi with a fiery look in his eyes. The two walked together and shook hands first. But for a moment, the two forces that burst out suddenly collided with each other, emitting waves. Please give me more advice, contestant Bai Zi. No need to say polite words, let's get started. Bai Zi smiled slightly, and the power on his body repelled Long Aotian, and he also took back his right hand. Then, he entered the glass cover, sat on the competition seat, and prepared to connect to the world. Ding, the information of the opponent player is detected, and the world is being constructed. Ding, the world construction is complete, and the creatures are being transmitted. Accompanied by a series of mechanical sounds, the picture began to appear on the big screen. Bai Xingguan stared at this scene, not because of Long Aotian, but because of Bai Zi. Sometimes, she really hoped that Bai Zi could stop here. But thinking about it carefully, it was unrealistic. It was impossible to defeat Bai Zi here with Long Aotian's power. Ding, the creatures were randomly teleported, and this battle officially began. The game time limit is 40 minutes, the game begins. The teleportation gates were opened in both worlds, and the game map was completely constructed. What was presented on the big screen was an endless desert. Here, the hot quicksand was steaming hot. The scorching sun was hanging high in the sky, and there was no blue at all, and even the sky was orange. The desert terrain is quite standard. Except for certain creatures, other creatures will basically not be blessed in the desert terrain. The audience in the venue analyzed this round of competition. At that time, Bai Zi selected the number of people in his own world. In this competition, he really planned to let the first emperor and his men go first. As for the other 5 tribes, they would be dispatched according to the situation, and they were still okay as backup troops. Okay, that's it. All troops, march. Bai Zi gave an oracle, and the first emperor, who received the order, ordered the fleet to move forward. At the same time, Long Aotian, who was observing the situation outside, was quite excited. Desert terrain. This place is quite adaptable to his creatures. Hee. Technological civilization. Then this time, I will crush you in terms of firepower. Long Aotian laughed evilly, and then waved his hand, and the whole army marched forward. Familiar scene, familiar connecting channel. The first emperor's fleet slowly flew out from the opening. A blue barrier rose from the outside, surrounding the entire arc. Report, all major star battleship groups have been deployed. Report, all members of the Mecha armed force have arrived. Report, the Demon King is on its way, and the Tianzu arc is still on standby in the main world. A series of notification sounds spread throughout the army. Report, the radar device has been turned on, the infrared scanning device has been turned on, and no heat reaction has been found yet. Etc. Suddenly, it seemed that Fiazhu's device detected something. On the electronic screen, a huge red dot was detected. Then, as the radar went on, the red dots gradually increased. This proves that there are creatures moving closer here. Warning, warning. Many high heat reactions have been found, and they are rapidly approaching our army. Warning, warning. The entire front line has entered a state of first-line combat readiness, and the Mecha Arm team is preparing to survey forward. Before he finished speaking, a red firelight quickly struck at the end of the sand-covered area. The future had no time to dodge, and the red light penetrated directly through the past. Even though they were protected by quantum barriers, a large number of mechas exploded on the spot, turning into fragments and scattering all over the sky. Warning. Under enemy attack, special antimatter barrier deployed. On the first Emperor's side, multiple alarms sounded in succession. At the same time, the ground began to shake. At the end, facing the gluttonous firelight, a huge red figure walked out of the haze. It has a humanoid appearance, but has a sharp mouth and fangs, and can shoot out rapidly high-temperature flames. This scene shocked the audience inside and outside the venue. Isn't this appearance the giant divine weapon that claims to burn down the world in 7 days? AKA 7 days of fire.